Next speaker is Dr. Yoshiyuki Amemiya, who is Associate Professor at the University of Tokyo and a Dean of the Graduate School of Frontier Sciences. And that sounds like cutting-edge science, right? He was a postdoc researcher at the Japanese Society for the Promotion of Science and a research associate at the National Laboratory for High Energy Physics. He was also visiting scientist at Brookhaven National Laboratory in the USA and associate professor at the National Laboratory for High Energy Physics. He received a Ph.D. from the University of Tokyo. And Dr. Amemiya is going to talk about, Science and Values, Overall View of Science and the Ideals of Human Civilization. Dr. Amemiya.
Thank you very much for the introduction. But the data is not updated. I'm already retired. I'm a professor emeritus. That information is 30 years ago. Thank you. The title of my talk is Science and Values and the Overall View of Science and the Ideas of Human Civilization. This topic is too broad in scope to be covered in 70 minutes or 20 minutes, so I will try to focus on the essence. This is the content I'm talking about, the significance of the ICAS conference and the science and the idea of the human civilization and the role of the natural science and technology, also the method, hypothesis, and viewpoint in physics. I was going to introduce my own research if I have time, but maybe I need to skip my own research and summary. Okay, the official name of the ICAS is the International Conference on the Unity of Science, and the name, as the name implies, its goal is to unite sciences. Now, in the 21st century, we know the necessity of interdisciplinary sciences, namely cross-talking and co-working among different fields of science so as to reach truth and thereby to resolve the problem we are facing. To our suppliers, necessity of interdisciplinary science was already declared by founder Reverend Samuel Moon using the word of unity of science, which dates back to the early 1970s. Reverend Samuel Moon says, without the unity of science, we cannot reach the truth, nor solve the problem that humanity or society faces. Thus, though the unity of science is a very challenging concept, this is a direction that we should go forward so that we can reach the truth and thereby realize the good human civilization. I appreciate the excellent foresight of Reverend Samuel Moon very much, who initiated the ICAS. This view graph shows the relationship between the ideal of human civilization and science. Human being has two kinds of desires, physical and spiritual. Physical desires seek physical values, namely good food, good clothing, good shelter, which enable us to live in a comfortable physical environment. We feel happy when our physical desires are fulfilled in such an environment. This is what I call material civilization. However, we can't be happy by satisfying only our physical desires. This is because we also have spiritual desires. They involve the three functions of intellect, emotion, and volitions. Each is paired with spiritual values, namely truth, beauty, and goodness. Science is a method by which intellect seeks truth. Art is the arena in which emotions seek beauty. And religion is where volition seeks goodness. We feel happy when spiritual desires are fulfilled in an environment in which truth, beauty, and goodness abound, and develop in harmony. I call this type environment spiritual civilization. I would define the ideal of human civilization as states in which both the material and the spiritual civilizations are realized. Science and science-driven technology play important role to realize the ideal of human civilization. Here, I would like to emphasize that the value of truth, beauty, and goodness needs to be mutually correlated through the co-work among science, arts, and religion. When we seek truth from a certain fixed aspect, you might lose the complete picture. However, in order for us to seek truth, the approach from a certain aspect is very efficient. Modern science has progressed since the 16th and 17th century when Rene Descartes and Francis Bacon pioneered the method of science in which things are divided into pieces and are observed from a certain aspect. It's reductionism. It's a very efficient way to seek truth. However, it also has a limitation as well. Over the course of the development, natural science has been divided into many different disciplines: physics, chemistry, and more. In addition, each of these disciplines are further divided into specialized subjects. By the way, my specialty is material science. As time goes on, overall picture obtained from various fields of natural science became unclear, and now we don't even know what the field next door is doing. Therefore, the integration of various science, including human science and social science, is strongly required. My topics is related to the natural science and physics from now. This view graph explains the development of natural science and science-driven technology. Recall that science is a method by which human beings overcome ignorance and seek truth. History includes geniuses who have made major breakthroughs in science, such as Aristotle, Maxwell, Newton, and Einstein. Nevertheless, we remain a long way off from knowing the entirety of truth. There are many things yet to be investigated and understood. Since ancient times, human beings have struggled to find answers to three major questions. First, how did the universe begin? Second, what are the elements that compose the universe? Third, what is the origin of life? These three questions have not yet been answered, indicating that we are still far from understanding the whole truth. This view graph shows the 13.8 billion year history of universe, which started with a Big Bang expansion in relation to fundamental physical forces. Time goes from up downward. Now we are here after 13 billion year history. In the modern science, it is so that there are four fundamental physical forces in the universe. They are the electromagnetic force and the gravitational force and strong and weak forces. Electromagnetic force is very familiar to us. It is widely utilized in our daily life in the form of many electric and magnetic devices. Another force familiar to us is a gravitational force, which governs the movement of planets as well as the falling motion of things on Earth. The two remaining forces, the weak force and the strong force, are not familiar to us because they function in a world much smaller than even atoms. However, they play very important roles, and our universe would not exist without them. At the frontier of science, it is assumed that in the beginning, universe was far smaller than even the size of an atom. In the beginning, the temperature of the universe was 10 to the 32nd. It's an unimaginable number. In such a world, it is so the four different forces were presumably unified as one force and ruled by one common law, that is to say, unified theory. This assumption, however, has not been experimentally tested. It requires both experimental theoretical research. So this question is very close related to the question of how universe began. That is why it is so important. This view graph shows the concern with the second question, what are the elements which compose the universe? Until the end of the 20th century, scientists thought that the universe was composed of atoms and light and nothing else. Here, the atoms means all kinds of elements which are listed in the periodic table of elements. In this century, however, we have come to realize that something of unknown composition called dark energy and dark matter are the main constituent of the universe. The atoms which we know compose only 4.6% of the universe. Without the premise of existence of dark energy, we cannot explain the experimentally observed fact that the universe is expanding at an accelerating speed. At the same time, we know that the revolving galaxy in which our solar system exists would be disintegrated by the centrifugal force. So it is assumed that the dark matter must exist. The quantity estimated amounts to 71% and 24% of the whole universe, respectively. However, because they are not visible in light, their reality has hardly been understood at all. That is to say, we don't understand what element compose most of the universe. So this is what Newton says. He says at the last, the great ocean of truth lay undiscovered before me. This is a science. Science is being developed all the time with incomplete state. We should be humble. Next, let me talk about the scientific method. The primary method in the scientific pursuit of truth involves observation and rationality. Through observation, we can discover certain features, patterns, and regulations inherent in the natural world. Then, by applying rationality, we can set up a hypothesis for a law that may explain them. The new hypothesis should include the existing hypothesis as its subset. It should also explain many essential questions clearly with as few assumptions as possible, which is called Occam's razor. In science, a set of hypotheses is developed in a spiral fashion, producing a law which does not have contradiction. Accordingly, scientific truths develop with history. I think the same in religion. The religious teaching is upgraded with history. In addition to observation and rationality, human inspiration plays a critical role. Method of observation and rationality may facilitate the process of asserting whether the particular inspiration is reasonable or not. So this view graph shows the surviving hypothesis in modern physics. The truth in the science is not exactly truth, just a hypothesis, surviving hypothesis. These are examples. The law of conservation of energy and momentum. This law requires the existence of dark energy and dark matter. Also, another hypothesis is nothing can move faster than light. Also, causality, the cause always precedes its effect. Also, the law of entropy increase. Though there remains possibility that these hypotheses in modern physics might be upgraded, they have been playing a significant role in pursuit of truth until now. Next, I would like to touch the importance of universal viewpoint in physics. Universal viewpoint in physics prevents human beings from falling into prejudice and self-righteousness. Self-righteousness means dogmatism. Physics law and equation can be accepted to be true in case they are properly transformed when they are described in different coordinate system. Different coordinate system means that the inversion, rotation, translation, existence, and so on. Okay, so these are the examples. So if you have it's a picture, this looks like old lady, but if this is turned around, this looks like a young lady. So it implies the importance of the viewpoint. So sometimes the argument or conflict occurs due to the different viewpoint. We should be generous to observe in a different viewpoint. Okay, the time is limited. This concerns with my research. But I'll just explain in the point. For the solution of the energy problem, produce energy and transportation of energy and store of the energy and saving energy is important. My research is concerned with the energy saving vehicle tire. So the loss of the tire is around to 20% when the vehicle runs. So if this is reduced, we can save the energy. So, okay, I skipped the point is that rubber is originally white, but rubber include the carbon black is included in the rubber, so that for the strength, for the elastic, for make it elastic. So I made an experiment with using the spring 8 X-ray laser but I skipped this, but I would like to show the result. This is an infrared view. This is a conventional product. This is the new product due to our research. You know, the temperature is lower. It means that the rotating energy loss is much smaller, so it saves the energy. Okay, this is the last message. Science, this quote, word of Einstein, science without reason is lame. Reason without science is blind. But this is us. So, but we should become the true human being. So, situation nowadays like this. We are still immature. So, we should become a true human being instead of monkey. So, the last message is the development of science is important, but nowadays, human development is highly required. Thank you very much for your attention.